The ESS Mercy dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system, its pristine white hull gleaming against the backdrop of distant stars. At 3 kilometers long, the vessel represented humanity's greatest achievement in medical technology, and Captain Sarah Chen's proudest command. "Status report," Chen called out, her eyes fixed on the main viewport as the ship's massive engines adjusted their trajectory toward the distress beacon. "All medical bays ready, Captain," Dr. Maya Patel responded from her station. "Environmental systems are calibrated for the 12 known sentient species in this sector. We can begin receiving patients as soon as we achieve stable orbit." The ESS Mercy had launched 6 months ago as Earth's first dedicated interstellar hospital ship. Its mission was simple but profound: provide medical care to any species in need, anywhere in explored space. The ship's 200 medical bays were equipped with universal adaptation technology, allowing them to treat virtually any form of life they encountered. Multiple vessels detected approaching from the inner system, Lieutenant Jones announced from tactical. "Configuration unknown. They're not matching any registered designs in our database." Chen frowned. The distress call had come from a mining colony on one of Proxima's outer planets. There shouldn't be any other ships in the area. "Open a channel," she ordered. Standard greeting protocols. Before Jones could comply, the unknown vessels accelerated toward them. Their hulls were midnight black, covered in organic-looking ridges and protrusions that seemed to absorb rather than reflect light. As they drew closer, the ships began to spread out in an unmistakably tactical formation. "Captain, we're being scanned," Jones reported, his voice tense. "Their energy signatures suggest weapons systems powering up." Chen straightened in her command chair. "This is Captain Sarah Chen of the ESS Mercy, a medical vessel operating under the Galactic Healthcare Accord. We are responding to a distress signal and request peaceful dialogue." The response came in a harsh, clicking language that the ship's translators took several seconds to process. "Primitive humans, you dare to spread your infection of weakness through our space. The strong survive. The weak perish. This is the way of the Kraken Collective." "We are a hospital ship," Chen repeated firmly. "We offer aid to all species without discrimination. If your people need medical assistance, the Kraken do not need your help." The alien voice cut her off. "We are the apex predators of the galaxy, and you have entered our hunting grounds." Dr. Patel stepped forward, her dark eyes flashing with concern. "Captain, I'm detecting massive biological weapons signatures from those ships." The distress call. It was a trap. The revelation hit Chen like a physical blow. The Kraken hadn't just stumbled upon them. They'd deliberately lured a hospital ship into their territory. But why? The answer came as more Kraken vessels emerged from behind Proxima's outer planets. Their biological weapons weren't just for show. They were carriers of engineered diseases, designed to target specific species. And the ESS Mercy's medical database contained detailed biological information about dozens of spacefaring races. "They want our medical data," Chen realized aloud, "to make their weapons more effective." The Kraken commander's next transmission confirmed her fears. "Your ship's knowledge will serve a greater purpose. The weak must be culled. Surrender your databases, and we will grant you a swift death." Chen looked around her bridge at the dedicated medical personnel who had sworn oaths to preserve life, not take it. The ESS Mercy carried minimal defensive weapons, just enough to deflect meteoroids and space debris. They were no match for a hostile fleet. But they weren't defenseless. "Dr. Patel," Chen said quietly, "initiate Protocol 0. The doctor's eyes widened. "Captain, that will destroy years of medical research. Better destroyed than weaponized." Chen cut her off. Then, to the Kraken, "Our database is being purged as we speak. If you want humanity's medical knowledge, you'll have to earn it the same way we did. By healing, not hurting." The Kraken ships launched their first salvo, biological missiles designed to breach the Mercy's hull and infect its crew. But they'd underestimated the hospital ship's containment protocols. Every deck was equipped with emergency sterilization fields and atmospheric scrubbers designed to prevent the spread of unknown pathogens. The missiles struck their shields, their organic payloads instantly neutralized by the Mercy's defensive systems. Shan allowed herself a small smile. The Kraken had made a crucial mistake. They assumed a hospital ship would be easy prey. They were about to learn otherwise. Lieutenant Jones, send an encrypted transmission to Earth Command. The Kraken Collective has violated the Galactic Healthcare Accord. Request immediate military response. Chen's voice was steel. And inform them that the ESS Mercy will continue its mission. We don't run from those who need our help, even if they don't know they need it yet. As the Kraken fleet moved to surround them, the ESS Mercy's engines flared to life. They might not be able to fight, but they could evade. And more importantly, they could demonstrate the true meaning of strength, not through destruction, but through an unwavering commitment to preserve life. The battle for Proxima Centauri was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weapon would not be its guns or ships, but its dedication to healing all beings, even those who claim to despise such weakness. The ESS Mercy fled deeper into the system, its white hull now bearing scorch marks from Kraken weapons fire. But its mission remained unchanged. They would save lives today, even if they had to save them from themselves. Dr. Maya Patel stood over the unconscious Kraken warrior in Medical Bay 7, her hand steady as she administered another dose of synthetic antibodies. The alien's chitinous skin had a sickly purple tinge, a sign of severe infection from its own biological weapons. "How's our patient?" Captain Chen asked, entering the bay. Her uniform bore scorch marks from the latest Kraken attack, but her posture remained straight, dignified. "Responding to treatment," Maya replied, checking the biomonitors. Their own plague nearly killed them. Ironic, isn't it? 3 days had passed since their first encounter with the Kraken Collective. The ESS Mercy now harbored 12 injured Kraken warriors, survivors from a vessel whose containment systems had failed catastrophically. While their fleet continued to ravage the outer colonies, their wounded were here, receiving the very care their leaders had condemned as weakness. "The other ships are still refusing to retrieve their wounded," Chen said quietly. "They'd rather let their own people die than accept our help." Maya's hands clenched. "Then they'll learn exactly how stubborn human doctors can be. I didn't spend 15 years studying xenobiology to watch patients die from pride." The ship shuddered as another distant explosion lit up the viewport. Earth's defense fleet had arrived yesterday, engaging the Kraken forces while the Mercy evacuated civilian colonies. Every hour brought more casualties. Human, Kraken, and innocent bystanders caught in the crossfire. "Doctor paddled to Emergency Bay 1. The intercom crackled. "New arrivals incoming." Maya rushed to the emergency reception area, Chen following close behind. The rescue shuttle's airlock cycled open, revealing the grimly familiar sight: more victims of the Kraken's biological warfare. This time, it was a family of Arcturian refugees, their crystalline bodies clouded by aggressive bacterial agents. "They're saying the Kraken targeted their shelters specifically," the shuttle pilot reported. "Wanted to test a new strain." Maya's medical team moved with practiced efficiency, establishing quarantine fields and beginning emergency treatment protocols. They'd seen too many cases like this already. The Kraken weren't just fighting a war. They were conducting brutal experiments on civilian populations. "Doctor," one of her nurses called out. "The Kraken in Bay 7 is awake. He's asking to speak with you." Maya found her patient attempting to sit up, his compound eyes focusing on her with unsettling intensity. "Why?" He clicked in heavily accented standard. "Why treat your enemy?" "Because that's what we do," Maya replied, adjusting his medication. "Everyone deserves care, even those who think they don't need it. Our leaders say humans are weak because you waste resources on the unworthy." The Kraken's mandibles twitched. "That your compassion will be your downfall." Maya thought of the Arcturian family fighting for their lives in the next bay, of countless others suffering from weapons designed using stolen medical knowledge. Your leaders don't understand the difference between weakness and strength. Healing takes more courage than hurting ever will. The ship's alert klaxons blared suddenly. All hands, battle stations. Chen's voice rang through the intercom. Multiple Kraken vessels on intercept course. They're targeting our medical base. Maya looked at her patient, seeing confusion in his alien features. They would fire on their own wounded. The strong survive, he quoted, but his voice held uncertainty now. The weak, help me evacuate you to a safer bay. Maya cut him off. Unless you prefer to test that philosophy personally. As Maya's team relocated patients away from potential impact zones, she noticed the Kraken warrior watching the human medical staff with growing bewilderment. They worked tirelessly to protect everyone under their care, human, alien, friend, and foe alike. Your species makes no sense, he clicked finally. You shield your enemies from your enemies. That's because they're not our enemies in here. Maya checked his vitals one more time. In this bay, they're just patients. The Mercy shuddered as the first hits struck their shields. Maya heard Captain Chen ordering evasive maneuvers, trying to protect their vulnerable medical sections. The Kraken fleet was determined to destroy what they saw as a symbol of weakness in the galaxy. But with every patient they saved, even those who had tried to destroy them, the ESS Mercy proved that true strength lay in the power to heal, not harm. It was a lesson the Kraken were learning one rescued warrior at a time. Maya's patient watched silently as she treated wounded Kraken and humans side by side, her commitment to saving lives unwavering even under fire. In his compound eyes, the first glimmer of understanding began to dawn. The price of compassion was high, paid in sweat, and strain and constant vigilance. But as Maya saw that understanding spread from one Kraken warrior to another, she knew it was worth every cost. They were fighting this war not with weapons, but with something far more powerful, the stubborn, relentless determination to preserve life, no matter whose life it might be. The battle for the soul of the Kraken collective had begun, and it would be won not through force of arms, but through the steady, unstoppable force of human compassion. The ESS Mercy's warning systems screamed as 3 Kraken dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace. Their massive hulls bristled with biological weapon ports, all aimed at the hospital ship. They'd locked onto our central medical database, Lieutenant Jones reported, his fingers flying over the tactical display. Multiple targeting signatures detected. Captain Chen watched the Kraken ships approach, their intent clear. After weeks of failed attacks, they'd committed their largest vessels to eliminate what they saw as humanity's greatest weakness, its dedication to healing. Status of civilian evacuation, Chen demanded. Last transport clearing the bay now, Maya confirmed from the medical deck. But Captain, we still have 37 critical patients who can't be moved, including 15 Kraken. The enemy commander's transmission cut through their deliberation. Your corruption ends today. The strong do not heal the weak. The strong eliminate them. Chen's response was ice cold. You still don't understand. We're not healing them because we're weak. We're healing them because we're strong enough to see beyond your fear. The first barrage struck the Mercy's shields with devastating force. The hospital ship's advanced defensive systems, designed to contain plagues and protect vulnerable patients, strained against weapons specifically engineered to breach medical quarantine fields. Port shield failing, Jones called out. They're targeting life support for the critical care units. Chen hit the ship-wide comm. All hands, initiate protocol Aegis. Medical teams, prepare for emergency containment. We're not losing a single patient today. Throughout the ship, emergency protocols activated. Backup life support systems engage. Metal barriers sealed around critical care units. The Mercy had been built with one purpose, preserving life, and every centimeter of its structure was dedicated to that mission. In Medical Bay 7, Maya worked frantically to stabilize her patients as the ship shuddered around them. The wounded Kraken watched in bewilderment as human medical staff risked their lives to protect their supposed enemies. Why do you not abandon us? One Kraken warrior asked as Maya reinforced his stasis field. Your ship is dying to protect those who would destroy it. Because this is who we are, Maya replied, not pausing in her work. And no amount of attacking us will change that. On the bridge, Chen received increasingly dire reports. Hull breaches on 3 decks. Primary power failing to multiple medical bays. The Kraken weapons were systematically targeting their ability to heal. Captain, Jones called out suddenly. I'm detecting quantum signatures. Earth reinforcements arriving. Space lit up as humanity's response fleet emerged from hyperspace, but they weren't alone. Ships of a dozen different species appeared alongside them. Races that had experienced the Mercy's aid in the past, now returning to defend what it stood for. The Kraken dreadnoughts found themselves surrounded, their tactical advantage evaporating as vessels from across the galaxy moved to protect the hospital ship. Your fleet is impressive, the Kraken commander transmitted, but you waste it defending weakness. The response came not from Chen, but from the combined fleet. We defend the right to heal, the right to save lives rather than take them. If you cannot understand that strength, then you understand nothing at all. The battle erupted across space, but unlike the Kraken's previous encounters, these ships fought with surgical precision. They disabled rather than destroyed, contained rather than obliterated. They demonstrated a power greater than mere destruction, the power to end conflict while preserving life. In the critical care unit, Maya felt the shift as the combined fleet's defense allowed them to stabilize their systems. Her Kraken patients watched the tactical displays in silence, seeing their mighty dreadnoughts rendered helpless by forces that chose not to destroy them. Perhaps, one warrior clicked softly, we have misunderstood the nature of strength. The ESS Mercy's hull bore the scars of the Kraken assault, its pristine white surface now marred and burned. But it continued its mission, its medical bays still operational, its commitment unbroken. They had faced the ultimate test of their principles and emerged stronger, not because they had defeated their enemy, but because they had refused to become them. As the Kraken dreadnoughts went dark, their weapons disabled by precise strikes, Chen sent out a ship-wide message. Begin rescue operations. All survivors, regardless of origin, are to receive full medical care. Because that was humanity's true strength, the power to heal, even those who had tried to destroy them. And no force in the galaxy could break that resolve. Admiral Helena Santos stood on the bridge of the Earth Defense Force flagship Valiant, studying tactical displays of the disabled Kraken dreadnoughts. Their biological weapons had been neutralized, their engines shut down by precisely targeted strikes. But the war wasn't over. The ESS Mercy's medical data is intact, her tactical officer reported. Dr. Patel's team has made a breakthrough analyzing the Kraken bioweapons. Maya's face appeared on the main screen, her expression determined despite her exhaustion. The Kraken's biological weapons are sophisticated, but they have a fatal flaw. They're all based on their own biology. The revelation hit Santos like a thunderbolt. The Kraken had attacked the Mercy to prevent humans from understanding their physiology. Instead, they delivered themselves right into the hospital ship's care. Every Kraken patient we've treated has helped us understand their vulnerabilities. Maya continued, not to destroy them, but to help them. Their biological weapons are causing cascading genetic damage to their own species. They're killing themselves. The tactical display showed more Kraken ships arriving at the edge of the system. But these vessels moved differently, their formations lacking the aggressive precision of their predecessors. Many showed signs of internal damage. They're sick, Maya explained. The weapons they've been developing are mutating, affecting their own crews. That's why they attacked us. They're desperate to find a cure, but too proud to ask for help. Santos exchanged looks with Captain Chen on the Mercy's bridge. Can you help them? We already are, Chen replied. The treatment protocols we developed for our Kraken patients can be modified to work on a larger scale. We can end this war not by fighting, but by healing. The combined fleet moved into position around the ESS Mercy, no longer just defending but preparing to launch a different kind of assault. meditation ships loaded with modified treatment dispensers, emergency response vessels equipped with mass distribution systems for Maya's cure. The Kraken High Command's transmission was filled with rage and desperation. "We will not accept your tainted mercy. The strong survive. The strong survive by adapting." Santos cut them off. By learning. By understanding that true strength lies not in the ability to kill, but in the courage to heal. She gave the order, and the fleet moved. But they didn't fire weapons. Instead, they launched Maya's treatment pods, specially designed to penetrate Kraken ships' atmospheric systems and deliver the cure they so desperately needed. In the Mercy's medical bay, Maya watched as data streamed in from the treated ships. The cure was working. The genetic cascade was stopping. The Kraken, for all their dedication to strength through destruction, were being saved by the very weakness they despised. They're standing down, Santos announced as Kraken ship after Kraken ship powered down their weapons. Recovery teams begin emergency response procedures. All medical personnel prepare for mass casualty treatment. The ESS Mercy's white hull gleamed as it moved among the Kraken fleet, no longer a target but a beacon of salvation. Its medical bays filled with the very warriors who had tried to destroy it days before. And in their compound eyes, Maya saw something replacing the previous contempt. Understanding. "You could have used our weakness to destroy us," a Kraken commander clicked as Maya treated his genetic damage. "Instead, you used it to save us." "That's the point you never understood," Maya replied, administering the cure. "Medicine isn't about weakness or strength. It's about choosing to help, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." The war ended not with a decisive battle, but with a wave of healing spreading through the Kraken fleet. Humanity had proved its strength not through superior firepower or tactical brilliance, but through an unwavering commitment to preserving life. All life, even that of their enemies. The ESS Mercy sailed on, its mission unchanged despite its scars. It had faced the ultimate test of its principles and emerged victorious, teaching the galaxy a lesson about the true nature of strength. Sometimes the greatest power lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the choice to heal. 1 year after the Kraken conflict, the ESS Mercy orbited a newly established medical station at the border of former Kraken space. Captain Chen watched through the viewport as ships from dozens of species docked at the facility, including sleek Kraken vessels, their organic hulls now adorned with the universal medical symbol. "The first class of Kraken medical officers graduates today," Maya reported, reviewing data on her tablet. "They're already implementing what they've learned about genetic repair across their colonies." The Kraken collective had transformed. Their understanding of strength had evolved from destruction to preservation, their biological weapons research facilities converted into hospitals and research centers. They now fought different battles, against disease, against suffering, against death itself. "Incoming transmission from Kraken High Command," Lieutenant Jones announced. The face that appeared on the screen was familiar. The same commander who had once ordered the Mercy's destruction. But his compound eyes held a different light now. "The genetic damage has been fully reversed in 90% of our population," he reported. "Our scientists have adapted your treatment protocols to help other species affected by our former weapons. We seek to balance our ledger." Chen nodded. "That's all we ever wanted, to show that healing is not weakness." The Kraken commander's mandibles clicked thoughtfully. "We have a saying now, learned from humans. The strongest warrior saves 1,000 lives. Our children will know this truth." As the transmission ended, Maya led Chen to Medical Bay 7, now a training facility where doctors of all species learned from each other. Kraken healers worked alongside human physicians, their once feared biological expertise now directed toward curing diseases rather than causing them. "The strongest warrior saves 1,000 lives," Maya repeated softly. "But a hospital ship saved an entire civilization." The ESS Mercy's white hull still bore scars from that pivotal battle, left unrepaired as a reminder. But they told a different story now, not of conflict, but of transformation. of a victory achieved not through destruction, but through an unwavering dedication to preserve life. In the end, humanity's greatest weapon had not been its ships or its soldiers, but its stubborn insistence that every life had value. That true strength lay not in the power to take life, but in the courage to save it. The Mercy sailed on, its mission unchanged. But now it carried something more than medicine. It carried proof that compassion could change the galaxy, one patient at a time.